super excited to be on with you guys today, and I'm really going to actually kind of go back to like the real basics. Now, if you're on this call and you've been here for a bit, you're like, the basics are, dialing. I'm not even on that right now. If you don't have a schedule, guys, I love you, but like, it's not going to work. Okay. I'm going to lead with that. But really what I'm going to be hitting on today is, my eyes have been kind of opened up to some people don't even know how we get paid, right? That's not good, right? So I want to make sure every agent within this organization understands how they get paid. And guys, that's not like your fault. This is like me falling on the sword right now saying like, hey, there's something we did wrong when we brought y'all on that, we don't understand this part. So I want to make sure that we go over how we get paid, the comp grid. If you're at, for example, a 90% comp, just for an example, you want to know how do you get to the 95? How do you get to the 100? How do you work your way up to that 145, right? Like what needs to happen? So familiarizing ourselves with this chart. I'm also going to go over utilizing our license to its full potential. AKA, IULs, annuities, but also recruiting and building a business. So talking a bit about spread. I think that that's really important. I'm going to hit on schedule, and then I'm going to wrap up, with a good message as we are about, halfway through the year now. So if you don't know how we get paid, I'm not mad at you. I'm excited you're on the call with us today. Christina's going to help me out with some screen share, and we're going to get started with the actual comp grid. Christina, if you could pull that up for me. We'll give her a minute, because if you guys don't know me, I'm not very good with tech at all. So, Christina's always helping a sister out. So.
Oh, that's giving me a lot of credit, but that's fine. I'll take it. I'll take the credit where I can. All right. You said the comp grid?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks so much. And if you can zoom in a little bit, if not, it's okay. All right, perfect. So guys, this guideline is something like I have it everywhere. Like I have it in my bedroom. I have it when I open up my planner. I have it when I walk into my office, because if I don't know what I have to do to get to the next level, what am I working towards? Right? Like if there's no goal, there's probably a lot less intention behind it. So guys, really what I want to hit on, if we're looking at this first column to the left, closer to the actual numbers like 80, 85, etc. Here we're talking about personal production. So let's just say you just got started today. You're at that starting contract level of 80. What do you have to do to get to 85, right? Well, what you have to do here is you have to write $5,000 of issue paid volume in 1 month, in 2 months, back to back, let me rephrase. And then, or if you're getting started and right out of the gate, you're like, hey, I know a couple people who might want to do this with me, whether that's part-time, full-time, sometimes, whatever that means. You and 3 other people go out and write 20,000, 2 months back to back as a team. You're now going to move to the next level. So as you see that through each level, it's important to know, hey, if you're at an 80, how do I get to the 85? How do I get to the 90? How do I get to the 120, right? So understanding you're moving each level every 2 months. When I look at this business model, the first thing I looked at when I came into the IMO world was, how do I go from this comp to this comp, to this comp, to this comp? What needs to be done? So guys, if you don't know what you have to do to get, if you're at 100 right now and you're sitting on this call and you're like, I don't know what I have to do, please take a picture of this. We'll definitely put it in Slack as well. But you want to know, okay, if you're at 100, you have to issue $20,000 of personal production, 2 months back to back, or you and your team need to issue $50,000 of production 2 months back to back, and you'll be moved up to that 105. This always pushed, and being in sales, guys, we're driven by a lot of different things. But one thing that always drove me was I want to work my way up the guide. Like, I don't want to be at the 80% for my whole life, right? Like, I want to be at the 80% for my first 2 months. I want to be at the 85. And in a perfect world, we'd all move up the comp grade every 2 months. Now, I understand that you might be like, well, I'm at, 120 and I'm working towards my team volume of that 200,000. Okay, awesome. As long as you know what you're working towards, that's going to be the most important thing. So guys, if you don't know, please take your phone out, take a picture of this, make sure you understand how you get to your next comp level. It's extremely important. So Christina, that's what I got there. If there's anything else anybody wants to hit on. Guys, this is interactive. Feel free to unmute, ask questions. There's not a stupid question on this call.
Yeah, if anyone has questions, definitely feel free to unmute.
If not, moving right on to how you get paid, if we can pull up that graphic.
Yeah, you got it.
So now we're going to essentially take, so remember whatever comp you're at, we're going to take that comp and we're going to translate it over to, you know, the slide that's, or the graphic that's coming up rather.
Can you see that, Marissa?
I still see the promotion guidelines.
All right. Gonna restart my share. Can you guys
Perfect.
see that now?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So this is like, I love this because it kind of goes right through, but I'm just going to walk us through it. Okay. So if I help a client that gets a life insurance policy for $100 a month, we're going to use even numbers, right? Because I'm not good at math and the person that made this graphic wasn't good at math either. No, I'm kidding. We tried to simplify it, right? So with that being said, guys, we want to take that 100 or whatever the monthly premium is, okay? Whatever it is, it could be 300, it could be $30, it could, whatever it is, okay? We're going to multiply it by 12, okay? That's our annual premium. Sometimes we see AP, annual premium, right? So we're going to get $1,200 per year. So let's assume, again, for simplistic purposes, that we're at a 100% commission level. At that point, we're going to see $1,200. So times 1.0 is 1,200, right? Now, with that being said, if you look at this next part here, at 100% commission, the insurance company pays you $1,200 total. They're going to advance you because they're like, you know, Melissa does great business, so I'm going to advance Melissa 9 months. So Melissa's going to get 9 months of when that policy issues. AKA, I'm going to take the $1,200 and I'm going to put times 0.75 into my calculator. And that's how I'm going to calculate every single, well, I'm going to kind of hone in on this a little bit. That's how I'm going to calculate my compensation 90% of the time. By the way, just like Heather's saying, it needs to be issued and paid, meaning that the client paid as well. You will not get paid until the client pays, which makes complete sense to me. Let me know if you guys have any questions on there. But essentially, so that 9-month advance. Now you might say, okay, I got paid the $900. What about the other $300 that's remaining out of the $1,200? In month 10, when Rami pays his policy, right, his $100 a month policy, I'm going to receive as the agent my $100. On month 11, I'm going to receive my now $200, right? In month 12, I'm going to receive my last of that $100 to equate to a total of $1,200. So guys, we are in an advanced based industry, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing as long as we're utilizing advanced commissions in the proper way, right? So understanding how you get paid is so, so, so important. And you know, if you can do it once, just like this says, like you can do it a million times. I do want to make sure, I just want to pause quickly. Does anybody have a question on how they get paid? Just generalized question. Okay, we're doing good so far. All right. Now, with that being said, and Christina, if you want to kind of hit on this a little bit, there are a couple of carriers. So I'm going to give an example. AIG GIWL, which is the guaranteed issue whole life, which means if that person is really ill and they're between the ages of 50 to 80 years old, they're going to give them the coverage, even if, you know, God forbid, they're currently undergoing cancer or they just had a heart attack last week, anything of that sort. But there is a waiting period, guys. So there's that 2-year waiting period, which I'm not really talking about that right now. I'm talking about the actual compensation. On that particular product, yes, you are going to take a comp hit. You might be like, well, why? It's not because your upline gets paid more, or it's because if they insure everybody, right? Like by default, the company has a higher risk. Therefore, they're going to pay a little bit of a lower comp. Now, Christina or Rami, because I know that we kind of went through this, if either of you could drop that carrier comp guide, guys, all you have to do, every single carrier, every product, you name it, is on there. Take a look at the actual, your compensation is 100. You're going to look across the board 100. You're going to see a lot of the products are the exact same thing. And then you're going to see some of the products are a 5 or a 10-point hit, up or down. So sometimes your comp might be 110, sometimes your comp might be 90. But for 99%, 90% of the products, it's going to be what your comp is. But I do like to make sure that that's clear, just so that there's not confusion. Now, AIG is not the only one. Christina just pulled this up here for us, the comp guide. It is right on the Solidity website. So if you look, Christina's just on fflsolidity.com, looking through the resources, essentially, right?
Just go to agent resources, guys, and then click comp guide, and this will pop right up for you. And it's broken down by carrier and products. And if for some reason something isn't on there, just feel free to reach out and we'll get it added. But I think for the most part, everything's pretty much on there. We try to keep it updated.
Yep. So we know how important this is, and we just wanted to make sure that's clear too, in terms of how you get paid, right? Because this goes back into it too. You know, I don't want you to write GIWL and you're like, why didn't I get my $900, right? Well, because the comp's a little bit different. So any questions on how we get paid, compensation, anything of that sort, feel free to unmute yourself. And then just to clarify, so there is one carrier that will advance 12 months. I don't really like it, to be honest. I love that back end pay. It feels really good when that month 10, 11, and 12 hit in this business. So if you're just coming into the business or you've been in the business for less than that year, your month 10, 11, and 12 get really exciting because you start getting back end pay and things of that sort. So
What
awesome.
carrier advances 12 months?
Ethos.
Okay. And just since we're talking about comp and advances, if you write a policy on yourself, or it's what we call controlled business, so you write it on like your mother, your sister, your brother, you're gonna get paid as earned. So it's not that you're not gonna get your total commissions, you're just gonna, just like you do your back end pay, you get that deposit in months 10, 11, 12, you're gonna just get a deposit for 12 months straight, as opposed to getting that 9-month advance.
Thanks for that, Christina. Yeah, that's huge. And guys, if you're on this call, it's like, hopefully you believe in life insurance. If not, your job's about to be really hard, you know? With that being said, if you don't have a policy on yourself, the first person you want to protect is yourself. I always say that. And just like Christina said, it's not that you're not going to get paid. You're just going to get paid as earned, meaning each and every month when you make your payment, you're also going to receive a payment. So it's kind of pretty cool. It's almost a way, I don't want to call it free insurance, but I'll call it discounted insurance, I guess, for lack of a better term.
And Maurice is absolutely right. Unless you don't qualify for any insurance at all, it's hard for me to understand why an agent wouldn't have a policy on themselves. Another great tool that we have access to now is, I'm pretty sure everyone on this call is familiar with the IUL. Since we're independent contractors, for the most part, none of us have any sort of retirement in place. If you can qualify for an IUL, you should absolutely put one in place for yourself, just for the tax-free retirement benefits of it. And if you have any questions about that at all, just feel free to reach out to me, Marisa, your upline. The SRS team is absolutely amazing, but definitely start looking into that if you have no retirement in place for yourself right now, and you also don't have a policy on yourself, because it has the death benefit, to it. It has the living benefit built into it as well. It's accumulating cash value, and then the opportunity for the tax-free retirement too. So that's an absolutely amazing product. If you're like, I'm not sure what type of life insurance to put on myself, if you can qualify for an IUL, that's probably what's going to make the most sense.
And if you don't know, it's like, guys, like, reach out to us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I reached out to the SRS team the other day for myself, just to make sure like the policy I was going to write was good to go. Like, you know, like, there's not a stupid question, guys. So I just want to reiterate, like, we're always here to help. I love to help all of you guys, but if I don't know what you need and your upline doesn't know what you need, it's going to make it that much more difficult to help out. And then Heather, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was trying to type what I was trying to type
Just
fast. Can you just
unmute.
yeah, that was dumb. Sorry. Could you quickly just mention where they'd find SRS team and what that kind of because there's a lot of new agents on here. I see them.
Yes.
Just quickly mention where in their up atop they'd find that.
Yeah.
Or
So everyone, Marisa, do you want to do that? Sorry.
All you, Chris, go for it.
So if you log into your gateway and then you go to the Integrity Lead Center, there's going to be an Ask a Specialist option there. And from there, you'll be able to just pretty much put in what you're interested in doing, whether it's for yourself, a client, a family member, whoever it may be. And there's an option for IULs as well as annuities there. So all you got to do is log into your gateway and then access the Integrity Lead Center, ask a specialist. And then what's going to happen is you just input the information, input what you're interested in, and then you're going to receive an email from someone in the SRS team. Typically, they follow up pretty quickly within like 24 to 48 hours. And then from there, they'll either ask additional questions or they'll be able to give you what their best recommendation is.
Yep, and just like Christina said, log into Gateway, and Christina, I know you do this like every day, but guys, right when you log in, you don't even have to go into
I
Lead
log
Center.
into mine. I'm sorry, it just, mine looks weird because I have like the admin account on it, so it's not gonna
Yeah.
look like you guys's do, or I'd show you my screen.
So yeah, when you log in, guys, on Gateway, just right into gateway.upatop.com, you hit log in. On the left-hand side, just like instead of clicking Lead Center, you click Ask a Specialist, and it will be right there. Again, if you have questions about that, reach out, and you're like, when you're doing it, reach out to me, reach out to your upline. We'll be happy to help you, walk through that form.
And guys, the best way to truly get information, call the carrier. Like if you really need information, illustrations, things done, just contact the carrier, guys. You have no idea how many times I contact the carriers and they do a lot of the work for us, and they'll literally do applications, send it. All I have to do is get them signed. And they'll do that for all of us. So just make sure you really utilize the resources you have and the sales tools, and you have in all our agent portals. It'll help a lot regarding IULs. That's what I recommend as well.
And another great benefit about calling a carrier too is that you can do a risk assessment. So say you have a client, and even if it's for like a whole life final expense policy and you're just not sure if they'll qualify, you can always reach out to the marketing team of, say, like, I don't even want to say Aetna right now because of what's going on with Aetna, but for any carrier, and they'll be able to do a risk assessment with you for that specific client over the phone too.
Absolutely. And that's one thing, guys, like when I came into the business, like my uplines, like call the carrier, call the carrier, call the carrier. It wasn't like, hey, what product do I write? It was like, call the carrier. So I'm not saying like, hey, we all have it easy here. I'm just saying we're all on virtual office together. At least if you work here, you're on virtual office. So you're able to literally like, be like, what do I write, John Smith? Sometimes we don't realize, hey, if we call National Life Group, they're going to love to pull the illustration. They're going to love to tell us based off the health elements if that person does or doesn't qualify for said product. So just like Rami and Christine are saying, utilize the carriers as well. That's why we are partnered up with them. You want to think about it like that's your partner. You should be able to call your partner and ask for help. Just like we're your partners, so are the carriers. So don't lose sight of that. And then cool thing, or let's go over, Christina and Rami, utilizing your full license. So we just kind of hit on the IUL side. Index Universal Life, if you're on here and you're brand new, I'm not going to block your ears because we used to call this advanced market. Guys, it's not that advanced. Like, and what I mean by that is it's just about getting to know a different product outside of whole life and term life insurance, right? So it's only as deep as we make it, right? Guys, there's agents getting started on IUL leads, right? Like we all can make it happen. The training is there. We see it. We love it. We use it. If we do use it, we're in tune. So finding opportunities, asking the golden question, what do you have that acts like life insurance? Any 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, anything that would pay out upon your death. You'll be surprised how many people are like, well, yeah, I have this and this. And it's like, you don't have to stay there, move on to your appointment, but going back and saying, hey, it's as simple as I'm going to get with my retirement team to see if we could potentially put you in a better situation. And going from there, like you can literally just say that one line, you get off the phone or get out of the house, whatever, predicament you're in. And like you set up a meeting, we call it a BAM fam, book a meeting from a meeting, meaning they already trust you. They got life insurance from you. Book a meeting from a meeting. You go back, you write the annuity. You go back, you write the IUL, whatever it might be, but utilizing our full license is huge, huge, huge. Now also in Gateway, just talking about, utilizing, our resources, so to say, if you go right into Gateway on the left-hand side, you're going to see a tab that says My Web Page. As much as this video is like only 4.5 minutes long, guys, when we're getting people started or looking for people that, potentially we think could be a good fit for our team, that's a great video just to trigger out to them so that they can take a look and explain what the opportunity is, right? If you guys had to listen to me right now for an hour and a half, talk about Family First Flag, who we are, what we do. You guys are gonna, it's gonna be really boring, really fast, right? And it's gonna also tire me out as like trying to talk about, I'm just gonna tell everyone how great the company is. That's how I feel, right? Send the video. Christina, what is the link where folks can actually create a longer video that's a little bit
Oh.
more?
I just logged into my personal account. Hold on, so I'm gonna reshare my screen just so everyone's on the same page with what Maurice is talking about.
Yeah, and for anyone that doesn't have this thing, I just put into the Solidity group chat the Asana job form or link to make it. So I know some agents, they may not have this my webpage. If you don't, just look on the chat and you just fill out the form, basically, and you'll see it.
Thank you, Rami.
Rami, I don't think that you sent it in the chat. I think you might have direct messaged it. If you could resend it.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, when you log in a Gateway on the left-hand side, there's a bunch of tools. So what Maurice is referring to right now is this. So it's my webpage. And then what happens here is you can copy and paste this link and then send it to potential recruits. And what's going to happen is they're going to fill this information out and then they're going to fill out let's go. And then you're going to receive an email that they're interested in learning more about the opportunity. If you don't have one of these pages in your Gateway back office, just like Rami said, you want to utilize that link. A lot of new agents don't, just because they're falling behind with creating them for new agents. So just send an email or fill out that jot form that Rami just put in the chat, and they'll be able to get you one of these pages. With that being said, there's also another link that we utilize.
I'm going to drop it in the chat right now.
Okay, perfect. So same kind of thing with this link. I can't, Marissa, what's the link so I can actually show everyone?
What is FFL?
What is
I put it right in the
FFL?
chat.
Stop/register. Okay. So if you go to this website here, what is ffl.com/register, this is also going to create you your own specific agent recruiting link that you can use. So you want to just fill in your basic information here. Once you press submit, you'll receive an email with your specific link that you can send to people. And then it's going to send out the 18 or so minute video that pretty much breaks down like anything and everything about FFL. So it's the Stephen Yee video that talks about like who we are as a company, what we do, how our model here looks a lot different than others in the industry. It touches on leads, it touches on comp, pretty much anything and everything anyone would want to know about the company. So if you're looking, like say you send that short video to someone and they're just kind of like, they're asking you a million questions. This is the second video that I always send folks that are interested in learning more about the opportunity. And I always say to them, hey, if this is something you're seriously considering, you're gonna want to watch this video a couple of times just because you'll pick up on things the second or third time that you didn't the first initial. After you watch that video, we'll reconnect and I'll answer any questions that you have. But this is a video that I literally make everyone watch before I get them started because it explains like the good, bad, the ugly, pretty much anything and everything about the industry. So you want to create one of these links, even if you're utilizing the My Webpage in your Gateway portal as well. It's just a great resource to have. So I hope if that doesn't make sense to anyone, just unmute or drop something in the chat and I can kind of further explain, but it should be pretty self-explanatory.
Where's that video? That second one?
So this is what is ffl.com/register. After you fill this out, like I said, you'll get that email with your recruiting link. Just do me a favor, when you get that recruiting link, click on it and make sure it's working.
Yeah.
So, like you'll be able to just test the link because before you go watch the video, it's going to make you input your name, email, telephone number. And basically what will happen is when the potential recruit watches the video, you're going to receive an email because they use your specific link. So it'll make more sense when you're actually like looking at it, but you want to test the link that they email over to you after you've registered just to make sure it's working. So whatever email address you register with, you should be notified like, hey, Janice is watching the video.
And from there too, Liz, if you click on your own link, like you'll be able to watch the video too, just to answer your question. So guys, with recruiting and kind of like what I'm talking about of utilizing your full license is, okay, like you might say, well, what's in it for me, right? That's what everybody wants to know, right? What's in it for me? What's in it for you, right? So we want to go back really quickly to the comp grid. Christina, I'm sorry, you probably hate me right now.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Real
'Cause-
quick before we move over to that, I just did want to point this out. As far as like learning more about IULs and annuities, guys, it's really not that deep. And Family First Life SRS team has done an amazing job of dumbing it down. And I mean that in the most loving way. If you want to do the IUL or the annuity boot camp, you can log in a Gateway, click on the left-hand side training camp, and then this is the 7-chapter annuity boot camp. And then they also have the 4-chapter IUL boot camp. So definitely go through both of those. Like I said, it's just going to dumb everything down. It's just going to be the basics. If you're interested in learning more about annuities and IULs. And last thing, about annuities, we have 2 of the top annuity producers in our agency. So the SRS team is absolutely amazing, but both Gina and Steve are more than happy to help anyone. So if you have questions about annuities, please just feel free to reach out to me, reach out to your upline, and we'll be able to connect you with Steve or Gina, and they'll be able to walk you through like what product is or isn't going to make the most sense for your client as far as annuities go too. And Marisa, you said, I'm sorry, the comp grid?
And guys, lastly, just one quick sec. This training, guys, this training camp, I went through it and it's really good. I mean this, I'm not just saying this. It has really
Fire.
good videos in here, material. Yeah, use it, guys. Even people who are selling 20K, 15K, use it. I promise you, like it'll help you sharpen your skills a little better. And for new agents, it will get you to that next step. So definitely utilize that training camp because it really does have good material. When I first looked at it, I was like, you know what? It's extra material. I'm not going to do it, but I clicked it. I'm not just saying this, guys. It's actually really good. So please use it. I typically push my agents now that's being directed to me to, hey, do this first, because it just has a lot of good information there that I didn't even know was there until I did it. So definitely try doing it.
Thank you, Rami.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rami. And actually, so Christina, what I'm gonna have you pull up, okay, we got the comp guide. Perfect. All right. So let's just say that I'm just gonna go back to we're at 100%. You know, you are, I am, whomever. Okay, we're gonna just talk in you terms. You're at 100% and you have your friend John who wants to get started. You're like, well, what's in it for me if I help John? First of all, if you're brand new or you're newer or you're needing help, here's what I'll say is we have, in my opinion, some of the best leadership, like hands down, we have the best leadership in the industry. I don't mean directly just on this call, I mean overall in Family First Life. So if you're coming into this business, you're in the best of hands. And I say that just from experience in this industry of 8.5 years. With that being said, if you're at 100% commission level and you bring in your friend at a starting contract level, or you bring in anybody, you bring in somebody, guys, let's literally look at the economy and tell me people don't need this opportunity. When I actually because I try to stay away from the news. Like if you know me at all, like I hate the news. Like I don't want to hear about it. Like that might sound awful to some people, but like it just doesn't put me ever in a good mood. It puts me in a state of panic or a state I just don't need to be in, okay? But seeing what the economic behavior of the country looks like right now, it's almost like I was blind because I've been in this business through the pandemic. I was able to work through the pandemic. After the pandemic, I'm so thankful and blessed to say that it did not negatively impact this industry, right? It's literally freaking bulletproof, which is why I love it. And one more reason why there's so many people out there, including my friends, my family, that need this opportunity. And sometimes we're just too scared to bring it to them. Guys, we just went over that video of this is what it is. Like, it's not like we're trying to push it on you. Like if you work here, I like to think it's because it's your choice, because you're a 1099 self-employed business owner, right? So we're looking for people that want to be business owners. They want to partner up. This is what they want to do, right? Now, what's in it for you? Okay, you're at 100% and you bring in John at a starting contract of 80, okay? You're helping John, you're helping John in terms of guiding him on the virtual office. You're doing some one-on-one training with John. You're helping John get paid, right? If not, by the way, we're helping John get paid. You have some great people, no matter who your upline is. If you're on this call, you have an amazing upline. I can tell you that right now. With that being said, so don't be scared to hire people like, oh, I have a lack of skill, or I have to get really good until I can hire people. Here's what I can tell you guys. You might have a cousin, a friend, a family member, an Instagram friend, a Facebook friend, a TikTok follower, okay, that needs this opportunity and comes in and blows the doors off this thing. Meanwhile, you might be issuing 5 families a month, But John might come in and be issuing 65 families a month, blowing the doors off this thing. Now you're like, well, what's in it for me if John's writing 65 and I'm writing 5? Well, what's in it for you? Let's go over that. There's something we refer to as spread. You bring John in at 80%, you're at 100. There's a 20-point difference. That's making sense so far? Can I get like a thumbs up? Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks for the head nod. Okay, thanks. All right, I love you guys. All right. With that being said, you have a 20-point spread. So you want to think about it like if John writes a policy for $100 a month, okay, we're going to do the same exact commission, but we're going to do 100 times 12, which is 1,200, and then times 0.20, which is representing our spread on John, right? Which would be $240. We're always going to have a 9-month advance, whether it's on spread or personal production. So times 0.75 equals 180. So John sells one $100 a month policy. And now you just, John still got his full comp. You didn't take anything from John, right? Let's be clear. But now you got $180. If John's writing 65,000 a month, like you're also blowing the doors off this thing, right? That would equate to almost 10 grand in passive income, right? So guys, it's like, if you're over there, like, what's in it for me? It's like, well, first of all, you're helping somebody and putting them in a better position if this is the opportunity that their family needs, but also you are being compensated in terms of the spread. So that's when things start to get fun in this business. When I came in, I was like, into Family First Life, I was like, I'm going to just be by myself. And I was like, that was like so stupid, by the way, like, don't be like me in the beginning. Okay. But after that, I was like, okay, like this is a business. How long am I going to be able to sell life insurance by myself? Right? Like, do I want to retire selling life insurance? And I'm being serious, guys. Like, it's a question for all of us to think about. Like, do we want to be 70 years old selling life insurance? Like, I personally don't. So that's why I decided to build a team. And I don't say that in a rhetorical way, but that's why most people decide to build a team, because we understand there's a sector of being self-employed, right? Which means if I get sick, I get hurt, I can't do my job, I'm going to have zero income, or it's going to be really difficult for me to produce income, right? Now, on the other side, if I'm a business owner and I get sick, I at least have my team working alongside with me and like they're backing me up, right? Now, over time, my team is growing and evolving, and all you guys are growing and evolving, getting to your next levels too, which is the amazing part because we don't hold people back here. And from there, you're going to have things like bonuses, right? Like it gets really fun, guys, but you have to see it as a business opportunity. Now, if you're on this call and you're like, I just want to personally produce, like disregard this. I'm not mad at you. But if you're thinking about long-term, take a look at the comp guide, take a look at the manager levels and think like, what do I want to do, right? Where am I at now? Where do I want to be? What do I have to give up to change it? Those are the 3 questions I ask myself whenever I get frustrated, which is sometimes more often than I would like it to be. So with that being said, guys, spread, okay? So same thing if you're at a 125 and somebody's at 100, you're overriding them 25 points, you have that spread on them, okay? Does anybody have questions on that?
Not a question, but I'm just gonna ask. So Marissa, if I hit that one time, how does that work? So what if what if let's say my group issues 150 this month, but then next month they do 125? How would that work?
Great question. So you want to think about it, you have to hit it 2 months in a row, guys. So right now on the bottom right-hand corner of this guideline, you're going to see fine white print. It's going to outline, you have to do this 2 months back to back, because I always say we can be incredible once, we can be incredible twice, but then we're probably going to stay incredible. So let's just stay incredible twice, right? Now, with that being said, guys, it's 2 months back to back. And that's the beautiful thing about this model. So going back to John, right? When John's at 80, he's issuing 65 families a month. Now you might be like, that's not fair because he should be at, 120%. Well, no, it is fair because that's the starting contract level. So you're going to override John, until either you lock it in or you guys lock it in together. So my point being, guys, is you're always going to have that, but you do have to do it 2 months back to back. And you will also see parameters written in that fine print that just discuss that it can't all be your personal production. when we hit that 125 marker, as you can see, personal production is basically irrelevant, right? So it's not like, when I say irrelevant, not that it's not going to count, but only 50% of your personal volume is going to count, right? Like we all know Rami could go out and, you know, if he really put his mind to it, I personally believe, you know, a lot of us could go out, we could help, you know, 300 families, you know, ourselves, right? Now, if Rami did that, hypothetically speaking, and he's brand new, he needs to do that 2 months back to back, right? But that's not going to work because it's just one person. So after that 120, you have to be building a team to get to the next level. So it's very important to know that 120% comp is great. By the way, for anyone who needs insight on that, I started at a 32.5%. So I mean, like everybody on here is doing way better than what I started at. Okay.
And we were only advanced 6 months, just so everyone can get a very clear picture of what that looked like.
Yeah. So I don't know how we made it, but we did. All right. Here we are in a better vehicle. That's
Yes,
the
we
point,
weren't
guys.
at
But
Family First Life, disclaimer, it was not Family First Life.
it was not feeling personal. So with that being said, guys, just really getting familiar with this right here is going to help you in terms of turning your mind from this is a job to what do I need to do for my business? Because if you're on here, you are a business owner. You are 1099 on paper. The IRS is going to say you're 1099 a business owner. So you got to show up like one, right? If that's what you want to be. So guys, I just want everyone to understand there is always room and opportunity. You don't have to, like, for example, when I got started in the industry, I had to wait X amount of time before I could, you know, bring agents on direct to me. Like, we don't do that here. That's really sleazy when I think back on it, right? So with that being said, you know, if you're just getting started and you bring in Jim, John, Jack, and Tina, nobody's taking Jim, John, Jack, and Tina from you. They're your agents, right? You just got to be working with them and working with us to help out. So that's what I got on spread, on recruiting, and just understanding like, hey guys, there's so much opportunity in this business if we actually hone in on it.
And guys, to hit logo, this is where you're gonna wanna look. So senior sales manager right here, once your team, just like Marisa said, it can't be just personal production, but once you and your team have hit $100,000 back to back 2 months in a row, that's when you're granted your logo.
And that's when it gets really fun.
And also you can't skip comp levels. So like, for example, say you come in, you're at an 80% and you issue pay $20,000 2 months in a row. That's amazing. I'm proud of you, go you, but you're still, when you get that comp bump, you're gonna be bumped to an 85. You're not necessarily gonna be bumped to 100. Does that make sense? So
Yep.
you need to move up in 5% increments. So you need to hit those levels like 2 months back to back to move up.
Makes perfect sense. All right. Consistency is absolutely key. If you're consistent in this business, you'll hit new levels. If you're not consistent, you will have an inconsistent, or you'll actually, if you're not consistent, you'll have a consistent comp. That's actually, I like that. If you're not gonna, you'll have a, because it's not going to change, right? Kyra, residuals, great question. So guys, with residual income, you want to remember when you help a family, right? You write that policy, whole life policies, because they're whole life, do have a higher residual rate. What I mean by that is after, you know, your 12 months is paid, right? They paid you, going back to our example, if they paid you now your $1,200 for the year. Now in month 13, when client John Smith pays his policy, you're going to have a small residual override. Now, this is going to stay in place until either your client should pass on or until the policy is out of force. So as long as the policy is in force, you're building up that residual income. And here's what I can tell you guys. I honestly probably shouldn't even say that, but I'm going to say it anyways. I personally haven't written Mutual of Omaha in like, I don't know, like 2 years at least, like debatably longer. But a lot of you guys write them. And I used to love writing Mutual of Omaha. And by the way, they're a great company. I'm not knocking Mutual right now, just to be very clear. They're just hard to get approved for, so I just usually say it away. But my point is, guys, my residual income with Mutual of Omaha, and this is not because I'm so great. This is because, like, this is what it looks like after you've been in the industry for a couple of years. My back end pay, I literally get paid like at least $4,000 a month for Mutual of Omaha for work that I already did. So like that's what residual is. Now, I have quite a few policies, absolutely, but every product is going to be a little bit different. So like, just kind of back to the point, residual income is on every policy that we have. Just important to know it's a higher percentage with whole life versus term life. Term life, I believe, is somewhere between 0.25 to 0.75. I want to keep it on the lower end, whereas whole life is somewhere between typically about 1 to 3% after. So that's what residual is. Kyra, awesome question. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Any other questions, guys? Feel free to unmute.
So that residual is on each policy, is it a month thing? Do they pay you just like one time a year, or do they pay you like minimally every month, or how does that work?
Great question, Liz. So every carrier is a little bit different in terms of residual. But in terms of like, for example, most carriers, they're going to process it just like you would get your daily commission. So it's pretty cool. If it's like the 17th of the month, John's policy is in month 13, you're going to get that, residual, so to say. You're going to see that. Residuals on IULs and annuities. Annuities, to the best of my knowledge and belief, please unmute if I'm wrong, do not have any type of residual income. You get paid a lump sum up front and that is it. IULs do have a residual on them. So great question there as well. Same thing, that's going to sit, IUL residual is going to sit in between that whole life percentage and in between that term percentage. So it's kind of more so in the middle. We'll call it, 1 to 2%. Please actually don't quote me on that one, but right in the middle of that. Okay, guys. So residuals are great. You might be like, well, what's 1%? Well, how much business did you issue? How much business did your team issue? Right. So it gets really exciting when we start talking about these types of things.
And as you move up the comp grid too, your residual income percentage also increases with each carrier. So the higher your compensation level is with FFL, the higher your residual income percentage is going to be as well on every product. Each product is different, just like Marisa said, even by carrier, but it's still going to be higher the higher your comp is. So as you move up the comp grid, your residuals are you're going to get a larger percentage of them as well.
Yes, Heather, right enough business and residuals can help you retire. I couldn't agree more. I'm like, that's the plan. I'm not leaving anybody behind, but that's the plan. All right, guys. But with that being said, we also wanted to just quickly hit on producer bonuses. Sometimes like I'll see agents and they'll be at like 19,996.5 up. And I'm like, gosh, like, you couldn't, Christina, can you pull up that producer bonus graphic?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, guys. My bad.
All right. So, well,
Hold on, I
Christina's
got it.
All right. So guys, knowing there's bonuses out there is extremely important. Okay. Yeah. Heather, same. I would definitely go into depression if that happened. I would be like, I was right there. And like, some people don't even know it. So guys, that's why we're doing this call. We want to make sure like, hey, it's in your face. Like, about this stuff. And by the way, all of this is on fflsolidity.com. So if you're like, where can I get this? Of course, reach out, but also utilize your resources. Okay.
All right, here we go. Can you guys see that?
Perfect. Yep. Yes. Beautiful. All right. So if we look at this, guys, so to receive a producer bonus, you have to pay $20,000 in production minimally. Okay. So not as a team, like this is personal producer bonus I'm talking about right now. So let's use, Rami, what did you write last month? I'm going to use you as an example. Sorry. Well, I'm really not sorry, but
Okay.
love you.
Oh, I got 75K.
Okay, just 75K. Okay, so perfect. So if we look at that, guys, Rami issued $75,000 last month. Okay, now his producer bonus is $4,000. Now, Rami, does your producer bonus ever charge back?
Oh, it's not.
That's right. So guys, you want to think about this too. These are non-charge backable things, right? Like your bonus doesn't charge back. They're not like, oh, we're going to take it back. We just don't think that you deserved your January bonus, right? So if you're hitting these levels, right? It's like, think about it like this. If you wrote even just 20, we're going to go small scale. You wrote 20 grand every single month. That's an additional $7,800 a year that's going into your family's pocket. Right? Like, is it worth it to work a little bit harder to get from that 15 to 20 families? I think so, right? And as you can see, it goes up and it goes up. Also important to know that there's writer increases. So going back to recruiting, you have one writer and your team volume increases by 10, you're going to receive a $500 cash bonus. You'll see those go on and on and on. So 20K bonus fixed Heather's hot tub. Like, let's go. Like, Heather got a hot tub. I'm like, I'm coming over, Heather. I'll see you soon. But with that being said, truly think about, like, what could that do for your family, right? If you just issued 20,000 every month, 20 families, what would it look like if you issued 30? What about 40, right? These are questions you want to get clear with yourself on, and then get with your mentor on how to hit them. Like, there's no better conversation that I love having than, I'm doing this right now. I really want to be doing, 30,000 a month. Like, how do I get there? Like, that's exciting to me. I'm like, let's do this thing, right? Like, that's exciting. So everybody wants to help. So you'll see there's writer increases and also lead voucher bonuses. So you're going to receive 25% of your, essentially 25% of whatever your actual money is. You're going to have it in a lead voucher in your ILC. So once your bonus hits, you get your cash bonus of, for example, $650 if you're rating 20,000. And then you're going to receive a lead voucher for 25% of that. I'm not good at math. Sorry, guys, I don't have that number up, but I would assume it's like $200 and something. So that's going to be put into your ILC. What could you do with that additional lead money, right? Like, we're complaining
really
about
bad at numbers.
me. All
Yeah.
right. Well, that's why we have calculators, right?
Right.
So with that being said, though, it's like, what could that do if you had an additional $300 lead voucher in your back office, or an additional $162.50 lead voucher, because Christina said I'm bad at math, in your back office, right? Like, what is that going to do for you, right? Is that going to make you feel more confident showing up? Is that going to make you feel better? Is that going to give you a peace of mind, right? Like, I know for me, when I see the lead voucher, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, let's do this thing, right? Like, let's buy more leads. And guys, more leads will always convert to more sales as long as you are working your schedule. So that's what I got there. Anybody else want to chime in on anything here? Please feel free to.
Well, there's the principal. There's a lot of carry bonuses too, which I'm sure you're gonna talk about. They're really good, guys. Just check your back offices and see what you guys need to write to hit those bonuses. Like, I didn't know with Foresters. I know it's not companies you write too often, but they take a long time to issue at times. But I didn't know I was close to hitting a bonus, so I checked it and I was like, I am close. So now I'm gonna get a $4,000 bonus, like, about like a week, just because I looked at it and I was like, oh wow, I'm close to hitting their Fund Your Dreams bonus. America, Mutual, Prosperity, they all have one. Ethos, AIG. Just make sure to continue to look at that, and you'd be surprised how much more income you can add to fund your business to really, guys, get you to the next level just by writing a couple more AIG SIWL. Instead of going America, just take the time to look at SIWL, write it, and they're probably going to be approved. They share like the same guidelines. And you'd be surprised, and you're helping the client out at the same time.
Is the Foresters bonus quarterly, Rami?
Yes, it is. Yes.
That's awesome. So
And just to give an example too, and kind of like the opposite of Rami, right? The Fund Your Dreams, right? Like, how did I find out about that? Well, first of all, they sent out a million emails that I disregarded. Guys, I had written 19, I think it was 996. Christina, correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't know the Fund Your Dreams was the thing, right? I was so like, guys, I missed it by like not even $1 of annual premium. Like, you know how stupid I felt after? I was like, okay, I just lost $4,000. They sent me a backpack. I mean, it's cool, right? Like, I'm not mad at them, but like, it's like, I didn't check, right? I did not do my due diligence. So I got a backpack instead of $4,000, right? So do your due diligence, right?
guys, Marisa was like, I just got all this Foresters merch. And then
Yeah.
find out it's because she missed her bonus by like $5.
Yeah, they sent me like a Bose speaker. I mean, Rami said the backpack is lit. The backpack is definitely, it's a great backpack.
No, we
But at
love
the same-
Foresters, and we love Andrew, the rep from Foresters. Andrew's amazing. So
Yep, and Andrew's gonna make sure that if you're writing Foresters on this team, you don't miss your bonus, because he's really great at reaching out and saying, you're really close to your bonus. Because I was like, Andrew, how'd you let me miss my bonus by $1, right? So, he's making up for it now. But guys, with that being said, in all seriousness, look at the bonuses. Now, you don't want to write just based off the bonus. That would not be fair to the client. But understanding, just like I said, I missed it by $1, right? Like, I'm sure there's people on this call that you don't even know you missed the bonus by $1, right? Like, I probably missed it before by $1. Let's not be those people, right? Let's be the people that show up. We know what the bonuses look like. We have these things structured out on our desk. on our bulletin board. Like if you're Heather Coletti and you have that board behind you, like it inspires me every day when I look at it. So like whatever you got to do to get that stuff in front of you is so, so, so important.